Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Hello, all you delightful showy ovarians. Kia ora koutou, no mai, haere mai, and welcome back to Showy Ovaries. Oh, it's been so long. Yes, it's the beginning of season 3. That's right. I've been once, twice, 3 times with Showy Ovaries, and I love you. Now, before we jump into this first podcast, I have a few things to plug. First up is Promise and Promiscuity is continuing its 10th anniversary tour around New Zealand, this time with added tea towel merchandise. Head to hotpink.co.nz to see when I'm coming near you, but this weekend it's New Plymouth, then the next it's Hamilton on May the 6th, and Rotorua at the Sir Howard Morrison Centre for the first time on May 13th, and then later in the year to Christchurch and Palmerston North. Then, on May 20th, it's yet another Showy Ovaries Live, this time with the fantastic Justine Smith to prove that we are not the same person, at the New Zealand International Comedy Fest, tickets at Q Theatre's website. Then, you know how I had to go away for a really long time to write a play? Well, I did. And The Tempestuous launches on June 13th, a shrewd new comedy by Will Shakespeare and Penny Ashton. It's on at the Basement in Auckland, and get this, it's a choose what you pay season. So you can choose what you want to pay between $8 to $100. So come and see my brand new Shakespearean comedy where I get to show off my 2 biggest skills, rhyming and overacting. Hooray! Also have to say thanks so much to my continued patrons, all 7 of you. I bloody love you, and you're still there. I just think it's fucking amazing. So thank you very much. But now, back to Showy Ovaries. I am kicking things off in style with season 3 with yet another Showy Ovaries Live, but this time in the fantastic Hamilton Gardens Festival. 19 years after I did my first show in the Hamilton Gardens Festival, as evidenced by various diary readings that I read out in the course of the show, where I am joined with the effervescent Jackie Clarke, who jumped in at the last minute to replace another guest. So exactly 12 months to the day since I last released an episode with the Energizer Bunny of the New Zealand entertainment scene, I'm going to do it all over again with you and her. And we may well mention some battery-powered objects indeed. It was billed as the O Show, and it was all about first times, sort of pivoting away a little bit from menopause, including that still, but asking other questions about bodies and body parts and my deep, desperate longing to have a boyfriend, as read from the various diary extracts. Thanks to Geoff Turkington at the festival, our wondrous audience, and of course to the very, very open Jackie Clarke, though she did text me afterwards to see if I can edit out some names. Look out for those sound effects, and enjoy the showy. Showy? Yeah, that. Enjoy that music. Did that give you a bit of a shock out there? I heard that. Look at that. Hello, everybody. Kia ora koutou, haere mai, te lofa lava, etc. And welcome along to Showy Ovaries Live. Are you excited? Yes. Excellent. Hello. So yes, my name's Penny Ashton. And first of all, I'm going to ask who out there has listened to Showy Ovaries? Anybody at all? Not 1, 2 people, 3, 4. Excellent, good. It's all been worth it, just for the 4 people out there. So if you don't know what it is, Showy Ovaries was started during lockdown when I was locked into my house for, 785 years in Auckland. And I was very bored and sitting on the couch drowning in milk bottles, wine bottles, lots of wine bottles, and crumbs going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And my husband was like, why don't you do that podcast you've been talking about? And so I started it. And the reason I started it is because I was actually outraged at the complete lack of information about menopause that we had been given at all in our lives, ever. Outraged, completely outraged. So that's why I started it. And so I've interviewed tons of fantastic women about their menopause journeys, and then of course the fabulous Jackie Clarke that I shall be introducing very shortly. And some trans individuals as well, all about their menopause journeys. And it's just been fascinating. It is a bit, sometimes now if I'm slightly hot, if I got menopause, it can be a bit like that where you know a lot about it, because I'm not actually menopausal yet. But I like to find out in the audience, who here is in the throes of perimenopause? Make some noise. Very shy. Who is post-menopausal? Make some noise. Look at that. Excellent. And who has no idea what's about to happen? Hey! And actually, are there any men? There's one man. Is there another one down there? Another one. Look at this. No,
I'm not. This is fantastic. Hello, sir. I'm not going to vilify you in the slightest. I congratulate you for coming to learn all about our uteruses and ovaries and exciting things like that. But actually, this is the premiere episode of season 3 of Showy Ovaries. And it's called the O Show, because what I have done is I'm going to pivot away a little bit from menopause now and just talk to a lot of women about their bodies, just about our bodies. Like all the shame that we carry and this bullshit that the patriarchy has shoved into us, which is not you personally, obviously, sir. But all that sort of stuff, and just, find out about, and for today it's all about first kisses, first loves, first orgasms, and all that sort of thing. So it's very exciting. So I'm going to, on that note of being very excited, bring on my fabulous guest star for today, and that is, here she is, Miss Jackie Clarke. Give me a round of applause. Jackie Clarke.
Hi, darling. Hello. Hi, everybody.
And I just want to thank Jackie very much because she filled in at the very last minute. Elizabeth Esther is very much focused on her solo show that's selling quite well for next week, so you should try and buy tickets to that. But Jackie's here doing Rock Follies Forever, so she's filled in for me. Right, now I'm going to talk to you in a bit, but I thought I'd bring her out to do this next bit so she's just not backstage by herself because...
Thank you, Penny.
That's all right. That's all right. What I'm also going to do is read numerous diary entries to you. You can see here I have a load of diaries. I have about 25 of these. So this is the first diary entry that I'm going to read to you, which is actually from 2004. And it says, I am sitting in Scott's Epicurean in Hamilton between media interviews, which I love. I don't know what it is about talking about myself that I so enjoy, but I just do. I'm feeling much more optimistic about my sales after my first ever publicity junket for the Hamilton Gardens Festival.
Aww.
Isn't that nice?
Beautiful.
That was 19 years ago, and that was my first Hamilton Gardens Festival, and this is my 10th, I think. And can we just have a massive round of applause for the fact it's actually happening?
Yes.
We're here. So, in my very first show here, it was a poetry show, because I am a performance poet as well. And so I'm going to start with a poem for you that I probably did in that show in the Victoria Rose Conservatory. It was called Crow's Feet, and I wrote this poem when I was 27. I'm just going to put that out there right now. And it goes like this. Whilst navigating my face today, I made an historic find. It would appear the map of my life to date has become much more defined. My laughing highs and crying lows seemed carved into my skin, and what once had been a blank landscape now had wrinkles in. Well, my first reaction was one of shock at my premature decay, so I made a lunge for my Nivea Visage and trusty oil of Olay. But just as I was signing up for beginner-grade lawn bowls, my vision cleared, my hysteria waned, and I managed to keep control. As I investigated every pore and put my face on trial, I saw these lines were more pronounced whenever I would smile. A grin once cracked, it would appear, never completely heals, and leaves behind a lingering scar resistant to chemical peels. First step, first laugh, first love, first joy, these all have crinkled my eyes. First kiss, first, I think I've done that again, but first orgasm. But that was more a look of surprise. My face reflects 27 years, but now it's 49 years of laughter and delight. So now I say, who gives a damn, and let these crows take flight. So that's that poem.
Very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you very much. And then about 5 years after that, I started getting Botox. So I am a total hypocrite. And I think that's that really interesting thing, right? When we're trying to be feminist and be strong and care about what we look like, but we want to care about what we look like for ourselves and not the male gaze necessarily, but yet you still want to maybe just make yourself look as good as you can. I find that. Do you find that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do.
And we actually apparently had the same dress, but you didn't wear it today.
Yeah. When I saw that frock, I thought, thank God I didn't pack that one.
I think it would have been good, and I'm going to give it away. This frock was $35 at Kmart.
I know.
Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway,
Never diss the House of K.
never miss it. It's amazing. Now, I am going now. Because we've already done a podcast, and I had to listen to it, and there was a couple of things I wanted to bring up. And one thing I said to you was that I'm not blowing smoke up your arse.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Are you going to do that today?
I am. Well, I'm about to do another introduction where I completely blow smoke up your arse.
Thank you.
I was doing my show in Wellington, and in fact, with our technician, Tom was my technician then, and somebody emailed me after I'd said that in the show as well, and said, do you know the origin of that? The origin of that is what they used to do when people were drowning, was give them tobacco smoke enemas to try and revive them after they'd been drowned. That's fucking true. Isn't that ridiculous? So all along the Thames, they had tobacco smoke bellows, because they did it with bellows to blow it up their arsehole. I mean, it would wake you up, wouldn't it? Tobacco smoke. So I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Jackie.
We'll never say never.
Yes, depends. Yeah, exactly. How good you are. So I am going to blow smoke up your ass right now with a nice introduction for you.
Listen to this.
Listen to this indeed. Former head girl and debate champ, Jackie Clarke is renowned for her maverick entertainment style. Whether it's treading the boards in musicals, sitting in judgment on New Zealand Idol, making music with her friends, or emceeing glittering events, she's been captivating audiences for over 35 years and was recognised with a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to the industry on the Queen's birthday, not the King's birthday. No,
Queen.
Not the King. 2018. She co-founded When the Cat's Been Spayed, has toured with the Lady Killers, been a soprano with the Jubilation Gospel Choir for 20 years, tours constantly, and also stars in musicals such as Mamma Mia, Chess, and Sweet Charity. You name it, she's done it, and done it well. Except there's one skill, according to your website, that you cannot do. She finds performing in front of crowds of 100,000 an absolute doddle, but can't parallel park to save herself.
That is true.
It's still true.
I have
the lady side down there.
I have poor spatial awareness.
Poor spatial
I
awareness.
need to actually get a car with a, one of those mirrors,
Yes.
reversing mirrors. Who's got a reversing mirror? And
Yes,
you never go back? Yeah.
But they do go back when they're reversing.
Yeah, that's right. No, I am a total menace at countdown. Just honestly, I'm
You
terrible.
had prangs in the car?
No, actually, I did once hit a bus though, which is hard to do.
Because they're pretty big.
I know, but it was 2 lanes and I was turning and I just hit the bus and I stopped straight away and ran to the bus driver and I said, that was 100% my fault. I'm so sorry, because it was. And he was just obviously shaking. And then I was in my boyfriend's car at the time.
Oh, good. So you can
And he
blame
had a
him.
bloody $2,000 excess. What a dick. $2,000.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, I only learned to drive at 26.
Oh.
So I was, maybe I was early 30s. Things like practical shit like driving, I avoid. I finally did it when I absolutely had to. I used to drive a scooter illegally in Wellington for many years.
Oh.
And then one day...
You are a maverick,
I'm
aren't you?
so risky. One day I just got a flat tyre in my scooter and I was just sort of rolling along and a cop stopped me and I thought, fuck, I haven't got a licence. And he said, you shouldn't be riding on that because you're going to ruin the tyre. And I said, I'm just around the corner, I'm just going to roll it home. And he said, you've got a licence. I said, yeah, it's all good, cool, sweet as. And he went, yeah, okay. And I thought... So I went out and got my licence after that.
Oh, I see.
And I learnt from the Stan Cleaver School of Motoring. And he was a lovely older gentleman. And I think I was too much of a good listener because after about 4 or 5 lessons, when we stopped the car, he would stop and talk to me for hours about how his wife didn't understand him and all that stuff.
That's so gross. That's
Well,
so
at the time,
gross.
I really liked him, and somebody starts sharing this stuff, and then you go, okay, I'm just going to let you get it out of your system. But
Yeah.
afterwards you go, that was so totes inappropriate.
Totes
as they say,
inappropriate, yeah.
totes inappropriate.
Right,
But
yes.
poor old Stan Cleaver, his wife really didn't understand him.
Wow, my parents tried to teach me, and they were both terrible. At one point, my mother screamed and put her foot on the windscreen, to stop it from the inevitable smashing that was about to happen.
Parents should not teach their children. When I've been in my car with my sons, I have the invisible foot on the brake the whole time. You're just basically putting a Flintstone hole through the car,
Right.
Because you can't release the tension.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, so I went straight to a driving school, and that was much
Good.
better. So now you're doing a show here that we must plug, which is Rock Follies Forever.
Tonight. Yeah.
Tonight there's got 170 people booked already, so you should book tickets if you want to come.
It's a
So
lot of
tell us a
fun.
little bit about the show.
Well, when I was 11 years old, I was obsessed with a TV show called Rock Follies. Does anybody remember it? And it changed my fucking life, mate.
Oh, right.
Because it was it was rock and roll. It was young women. They were sort of feral and fabulous, and it was sort of like Glee in that it had full musical numbers in the middle of a drama, which was really hilarious. And 3 really spunky women: Julie Covington, Rula Lenska, Charlotte Cornwall.
Holy shit, you did love it.
I absolutely loved it, and it absolutely put me on a path into performing arts. And also, I've spent my whole life working with other women, mostly singing with women, and Rock Follies was like a really formative experience for me. So I got the opportunity to do a cabaret show, and I was just spieling out possible ideas, and rock follies fell out of my mouth. And Auckland Live, the lovely Janelle Bish, who was commissioning, she said, I love that, do that. And I just rang Jennifer Ward-Leland, because I knew she was similarly obsessed. Rula Lenska, Jennifer Ward-Leland, hello. And then I rang Laura Daniel, because I thought I need a token young person.
That's right, yes. Get the people on the television to come along. Yes, absolutely. Great.
And away we went. Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
so much fun.
Good. Excellent. Now we're going to start talking about your bits.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and also you may have noticed it is a bit sweary, so if you don't like that, you should potentially fuck off right now. Just putting that out there. Absolutely. I'm filthy, particularly. So now when we talked, you were in the throes of many menopausal conditions and symptoms.
Yes.
Particularly, you call yourself a human water feature.
I am, yeah.
And how is that working out?
It's still very
Wet.
moist.
Still very moist. It's such a good word, that one.
Well, my body has always run hot.
Right.
I have been very efficient at releasing heat all my life, mostly through the use of streams of water coming out of my body.
Right.
But menopause is next level. I don't know what it is. And if you have anything like a stimulant like coffee or a glass of wine, it's 1,000 times worse. So you just
Right.
get these, I mean, you will know, you get these massive, just your body is overtaken. It's if somebody's turned on an internal oven switch and you go from normal to 400 degrees like that.
Jesus.
And it's just instant, and you just have to kind of go through it, and then it subsides. But
Who's had these? Like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you're very
full on.
polite, like you're putting your hands up. Yes.
yeah,
right.
so I never go anywhere now. In fact, I'm really regretting. I always have a fan. I do my fanny thing.
Right.
Fan away. And at night,
Fanning your fanny.
Yes, fanning my fanny.
There we go.
At night, I get particularly full on, bloody, like it's like you're sleeping in a swimming pool.
Wow.
It's really
So something
unpleasant.
to look forward to. And what age were you when that started?
God, it's all a blur, Penny. It's been going on for much longer than I thought it would.
Oh.
Like with me and menopause, my period stopped like that, but then these hot flushes have been going for years.
Right,
And-
now we were talking last time, you were pondering HRT. Is anyone here on HRT? Excellent. And do you find it good?
Love it.
Love it. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's so quick. Did anybody try it and didn't like it? Oh, yes. And why didn't you like it?
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Ah.
There we go. Right, okay. And so have you been thinking about it?
Yeah, I kind of got used to the hot flushes. It's nothing that's really debilitating.
Right.
Like if I found, like for instance, if it was stopping me from performing,
Yeah.
and because there is nothing worse than performing something to somebody and there's like rivers of sweat. Because my head, I don't know about you, my head and my feet sweat more than anywhere else.
And your feet.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. But honestly, as I say, I've always run hot. If it stopped me from feeling okay about being in front of people, then
Yeah.
I would do something about it. But I kind of got used to it now, and I'm thinking, I sort of felt like I might have crested a peak and it might be slightly waning, but I'm just so used to it now. I just make a joke out of it.
Right, okay. Which is always good to make jokes out of these things.
Yeah.
Now, last time we spoke, you were 56, I believe, and now I believe you are 57.
I'm about to turn 57 I've just realised for a whole year, I've been thinking I'm a year older than I actually am.
Oh, that's like a little bonus.
It's no,
Hooray.
seriously. And I thought I was 57 turning 58. I'm actually 56 about to turn 57
Yes.
in March. How do you lose a year? I mean,
Maybe you were hot. Flash by in a
really
hot
bad
flash.
maths. Yeah.
Right now, and some people say you shouldn't talk to ladies about their ages, but how do you feel about 60?
Oh, I'm totally fine with age. And I say my age, even if it's the wrong age, at every opportunity, because
Yeah.
I find it's like a wall you have to keep pushing against.
Yep.
When I work with young people and they dig me and they like working with me, when I tell them my age, they sort of go, "Oh,
Yeah, like my grandma.
I thought you were only 40. Oh, you're actually 56. And I still like you. What's wrong with me?"
I know. And it's so funny when you used to be young and look at older, 50 was old.
Oh, no,
you know,
50 was unfathomable.
Yes, absolutely. And then I'm like, were they actually, were people older, when we were young? It sounds so stupid. But, medicine, his stuff has kept us healthier for longer. So it would be, I'm not sure, but I thought, 50 was practically dead. Like, I remember my parents' 50th, and like, you're old, and I'm 49 now. But I'm the same. I don't have a problem, because I always say, what's worse than a birthday? Dying. And never having another birthday. That's much worse than having a birthday. So yeah, have you got plans for your 60th?
I would love to go. Well, I have a twin sister, and I would love to go somewhere, fabulous. I'd love to go to Bora Bora or New York or, Scotland. I've never been to Scotland, and that's where my grandfather's from. So I'd love to go somewhere and do something memorable.
Go somewhere and do something.
Is that specific enough for you?
No, I don't think so, but that's great.
But I'm so untravelled, like the last...
Yes.
Since, 2020, dong, dong, dong.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, Hamilton's about as far as I've been, and I'm very excited.
And this is a metropolis.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and obviously, so I haven't been overseas for ages.
We went to Rarotonga, and it was sort of weird, being in a plane at an airport. It was weird,
But Europe, I don't know. We are ready to go, but we're also building a domicile, which will be a big money pit. So I'm sort of thinking maybe we won't be going anywhere for a while.
For a very long time, right.
Anybody got any jib? Ugh.
Well, apparently that's in supply now, so that's good. My husband and I are going to have a 100th birthday party. Because
great.
he's 2 years younger. So when I'm 51 and he's 49, we're going to have a big celebration somewhere.
We had a big party when me and my sister turned 50.
Right.
That was great. We hired the Mount Eden Bowling Club.
Excellent.
Hired a ukulele band.
Beginner grade lawn bowls.
Yes.
Right, there
well,
we go.
they had practice lawns, so people could actually have a little game of bowls. We had a big barbecue on the outside deck, and we had items. People got up and did items.
Oh, good.
It was really fun.
It was an open mic.
Yeah, my friends Tina Cross and Susie Lynch. Well, my sister has got quite different taste in music to me, but she loves an 80s power ballad, and one of her favourite songs is REO Speedwagon, 'cause I'm gonna keep on loving you. So me and Tina and Susie got up with our hairdryers and sang that at our 50th, which was really good. It was a lovely moment.
Yes, I saw you have fans on the stage for Rock Follies. So
Menopause. We do. We have fans.
It was for your hair.
No, it was the hair, but it's also we wear leather jackets. It's like I'm just sweating before I even get out there. So
I've never thought of doing this.
artistic and practical,
very
and
good.
hot because your hair does look like Farrah Fawcett.
Because Jackie was one of the people that alerted to me a neck fan. Do you know about neck fans?
Yes.
Yeah, so that you put them around, they're like headphones, and they blow air up. So you can just have you can be like Beyonce at all times in life. I think that's very exciting. Now, I'm going to read from one of my diaries now. So this is from, here we go. And I got to a point, this is my very first diary that my mother brought back from Japan. I got really bored with writing full pages, so I started just doing bullet points. So this is the first one. This is the 19th of April, 1984, age 10. Ballet, Holy Thursday, tea out, see boyfriend, question mark? And I have no idea who that was about. So this is my foray into the boyfriend situation. So that was my first one talking about a boyfriend. Yeah, so I was just really obsessed with boys. I wish I had... this is the 24th of September, 1989. So I'm 15 at this point. I wish I had a boyfriend. Sounds stupid, but I'm jealous of Susie and Edward. Even dreamt about it last night. Ed and I were together, going through some adventure, and then he came to this house in a meadow, valley thing. There were thorns in the front of it. We held hands as we picked our way through, and when we got inside, there was a bed, and he put his arm around my waist and started pushing me towards it, and then he farted.
This is your dream.
This is my dream. This is my dream. I don't know what it all means, but what I know is I want physical action. Brackets, sounds kinky. Farting definitely sounds kinky.
That's so adorable.
So that's that one. And then I've got one more here where I was like so desperate for a boyfriend. Apparently I started looking towards family members. This is from the 25th of January 1990. So I was still 15, about to be 16. Filled in time before we went to pick up Mum's cousin's wife and her son. He's really nice and quite cute. His friend was supposed to be coming in his photos. He looks gorgeous. I wish he'd come, no pun intended. Kylie and Jason got married today on Neighbours. Thank you very much. So yeah, all the important things that were going on.
So cute.
Kylie and Jason. So now, when was your first boyfriend, Jackie Clarke?
Well, I've been built like a brick shithouse since I was about 12. So...
Okay.
Attracting the attention of the opposite sex for many decades. So my first boyfriend, I think I was about 13.
All right.
and he was a little bit older, so it wasn't strictly legal.
Okay, good. So you probably don't want to go into too much more detail about
That'll
it.
be enough for me.
So was he your first kiss?
No, actually, my first kiss was a intermediate. There was some sort of strange spin the bottle type scenario.
Yes, me too.
Situation going on, and I had to go into the cupboard with,
Redacted.
I think his name was, and there was a sort of a furtive, I just remember these hard lips pressing against mine, and just thinking, God, is this it? This isn't very pleasant.
Is this kissing?
And it was just like this kind of cold, thing, and I thought, oh.
And I remember because I went to a Catholic primary school, Holy Thursday, all the way up to Form 2. I feel like for me personally, it was the quickest route to atheism there was, going to a Catholic school. In fact, my father did condom vending machines. He went to St. Bede's in Christchurch, a Catholic school, and they did condom vending machine. He used to sell 2 for $2, or as he'd put it, buck a fuck. Which gives you a little insight into how this came to be. Yeah, that's my dad.
That's genius. Buck a fuck. That's
buck a
very
fuck,
good.
Yeah. So I used to pack condoms, and I used to taste the flavoured ones. See, like the licorice ones were best, surprisingly. The chocolate ones weren't very good, and neither were the strawberry. But the licorice was delicious. Didn't use them in situ, like opened up and went, Anyway, so because I was with the same boys all the way through, they were more like brothers by Form 2.
Yeah.
But all of my friends intermediate seemed to me a hotbed of fingering and pashing. Anybody else? All my friends that had gone to intermediate, like, there was a lot of fingering in the bike sheds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I was like, ugh.
I just remember yearning for boys from afar at intermediate. There was a boy called
Redacted.
who was just so handsome and lovely, and I remember being mortified because we had to clean up the classroom or something, and I had a broom, and somehow I managed to put a broom underneath Brent Nelson's foot, and he stood on it and smacked his head with the broom handle.
It's like a comedy bit.
It was, but he cried, and I was mortified that the object of my, amour from afar, I made him cry.
Did you break his nose?
Oh no, but it was just so awkward, and I, by that I did, it was just, yeah. Right. But then at high school, I went to an all-girls school.
As did I.
And so there were no boys in proximity, which is I think led my gaze to further afield.
And to maybe a little older.
Yes.
Right.
Well, because I spent my whole early teenage years so precocious, and I thought I knew everything.
Of course, we all
do.
do.
You just think you're sort of bulletproof and, smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
I know
you were the
everything.
head girl and the head of the debate team and the runner-up ducks and things like that.
Yeah, and kind of, we used to smoke, and drink and do all the, I lived a terrible duplicitous life when I was a teenager,
Right.
Doing everything right at school, but underneath just really pushing the boundaries.
Right.
And it was fun.
And I think I wanted to do that, but I was much more the goody two-shoes. Like my first kiss was also spin the bottle in a cupboard. That's very random, isn't it? Yeah, the spin the bottle wasn't in the cupboard, but the kissing was. And I seem to remember it was like, I've got that vivid memory of those wardrobe doors that have the slats.
Oh, yes,
going in there, and it was with Angus. I can't remember now somebody's phone's going off. Angus, yeah, and it was just like, that whole like, I have no idea.
Oh, there was no tongue involved.
Yeah, there was no tongue.
No tongue, it was just face, bone hitting bone, basically. Face grinding.
Teeth smashing teeth, there was definite tongue, and it was like, you're just like, if I'm doing this right. But yes, and then I got older, I might Ashton. I really relished in that a little bit later on, but there's some time earlier where I was less excited. So I'm going to read another one now, and this is again, this just yearning for boys, and then thinking, and there were these boys that were kind of nice, and then they weren't anymore. So where is this? This kind of. He said to me, listen, 21st of July, 1990. Listen, I think we should just be friends, etc.
Classic.
As we aren't that alike, etc., etc. And I just said, yeah, that's fine, but also sounded kind of disappointed, and I really wish I hadn't, because now I feel like he must be thinking what a dick I am, and I feel a real failure. I know I probably haven't got much cause, but I feel like he sort of tried me out a few times and then thought, nah. I really hope it wasn't like that. Work was fucked in the head today, really boring, and I think in capital letters, I am destined to never have a boyfriend.
Oh my God, Penny.
I know, unsmiley face. Yeah, I know, and it was just that because everybody around me had all these boys and like my friends, yeah, and like it's so funny when you go back and read this. You can imagine telling me at that age that I was going to sit in front of people and read that out.
Yeah,
it was so mortifying.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Oh yes, we forgot because Elizabeth Esther, she's given us something actually, and I think this would be a good point to read it. Speaking of mortifying, so yeah, because we were going to read some of Elizabeth's diary extracts because she was supposed to be here doing that, but then it was just wrong that we were reading her diary in public without her. But this is the front of her diary.
To whom it may concern, if I die and you are reading this, please don't read any further. Now I'm in a conundrum.
Yeah. She sent it to me by email, so she's fine.
I want this burnt. There are many personal things in here I would rather no one knew. I often wonder why I wrote them. Many things it hurts to remember. If I am murdered, and maybe police want to read this for clues, don't let them. I promise not to write anything down if I think I'm going to die in questionable circumstances. Whatever happens, I love you all. Think of me with happy thoughts. I hope you comply with my wishes. Once again, I hope you know I love you. Elizabeth Easter, 20th of February 1985. That is so adorable.
I know, it's really cute. This is the front of my 1990 diary. Don't even think about reading this. It has a special cornea print laser which kills people who aren't me. Mine's a little more like aggressive, and there's a little picture of someone being killed by lasers from looking at my diary. So that one's very good. And you know, you may be sitting there thinking to yourselves that I'm really quite eloquent, obviously, and I'm just going to show you some of the seeds of my eloquence from the 27th of August in 1990. I'm fucking tired. It's fucking 1:30. I have to be up at fucking 7:15. I've been running around like a flea in a fit all fucking day, and all I want to do is sleep. So there we go. So that's my eloquence. And I've always been quite sweary, and obviously with a dad like that, it comes along with it. And so you're a bit a fan of the swear word.
I am.
When did you start all of that, do you think?
I don't know, but I have a memory of being in Form 1 and using the word crap a lot.
Oh.
And my teacher saying, Mr. Green, I said, Jackie, do you know what crap means? And I said, well, it just means it's bad, it's awful. And then I sort of thought about it and then went and figured out what it meant and went, oh, okay.
So he said that, but then he didn't tell you what it means.
No, he just pointed me in the direction of maybe understanding the language I was using.
Right.
It's a good thing I wasn't saying cunt, was it?
But I'm glad you just did, because now that gate has been wide open.
Well, I like swearing because I think it's a form of intimacy, and when I'm relaxed with people, and I will use whatever words. I mean, certainly the C word, I do find it offensive coming out of some people's mouths in some situations.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it when I say it.
Because you're a good cunt, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel the same. And you know, there's been. Sometimes I've had reviews that, you know, like, oh, it shows a sign of no intelligence. And it actually doesn't. It's like actually been documented that people who swear a lot have larger vocabularies. So there you go. We're very clever.
Well, it's very much a situational thing. When I do a lot of emceeing, and I don't swear in that situation.
Yeah.
If I've really built up a rapport with an audience, though, by the end of it, I may let a word out because it's a shorthand to imply that we are now friends.
Yeah.
But I will never do it without really, really thinking hard about whether it's appropriate or not.
Yes.
But I just definitely think that communication, expression should be as unfiltered as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think women have spent generations people-pleasing and minding their P's and Q's and not using full passionate language and the full range of expression, including swearing, because we're much more likely to try and take the middle path. And so I do like to, I do swear a lot.
Yeah.
And fuck it. It's just, and I'm a very intelligent, articulate human.
Yes, you are.
But the word fuck is extraordinarily satisfying.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, it's so useful. You can use it as an adverb, as a verb, as a noun, all those sorts of things. But also, there's been studies done that you can withstand pain a lot longer. Like if you just say, if you put your hand in a bucket of ice and you just leave it there, you will last less long than if you say fuck, 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 fuck while it's in there. So it gives you a resilience as well. So yeah, embrace that. And I get very sick too of people saying that women shouldn't swear. Women shouldn't swear, and that double standard. I remember Michelle Courts talked about this. She was in a gig once and she knew that she'd said fuck like twice. And there were men in there and that were swearing away constantly. And the review said that there was a very vulgar lady. Yeah, and I said fingering like a couple of times less than I've said it today. And it also said that in the review that, I was vulgar sort of thing. And it was like, wow, see, women have that double standard applied to them. And it's so frustrating. Oh, I fucking hate it. So now I'm going to talk about body parts now. So yeah, like, because you're talking about like the journey with your body. So we've talked about that before, but for the people that didn't listen, how do you feel about the vessel that gets you through life?
I love my body.
Hooray.
There are bits that I wouldn't necessarily show to everybody.
Well, good. I mean, I like to be open, but in polite discourse, one doesn't usually flash one's fanny.
But yeah, it's a changing relationship. Having children really changed my relationship with my body, and the older I've got, the more comfortable I've got with my body, and the less I've taken it for granted.
You were saying you didn't like to exercise.
I'm not a natural exerciser.
And that you were going to try and do it, so have you?
I haven't.
No, not even gone for walks.
Oh, occasionally I go for a walk. I do like going for a walk. We will go for a bush walk or something, but it's never. I'm never getting my heart rate up. It's terrible.
Apart from when you're showing someone your face. So just recently, I just like 2 kilos came from nowhere that never had before, and I was like, oh, so this is this thing that I've heard so much about. But then so I've started running and doing weights some more, because when I was 16, I was diagnosed epileptic. I've got a little bit about that later on. And I was diagnosed to take Tegretol, and I took that for 16 years, and it made me hungry, but I didn't know that that's what was making me hungry. So I went to Jenny Craig. I was obsessed with, like, my diaries. I do little pictures of what I look like, and I look like the Michelin Man. That's what I did in there, like, because you were saying that when you're young, you were like young and gorgeous, and I was like, no, that wasn't me. I wasn't like that, and it just got in so deep that the notion now that I might have to, but I dieted so much for like 15 years. I was talking to my friend who was my flatmate about it at the time, and she was like, yeah, all those salads. A description of life with me, all those salads. And I just sort of gave up after a while, and it didn't change very much, and I started eating cheese again, which made my life so much better. Just cheddar cheese, I didn't eat it for like 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So the thought of having to go back to that person that I was, because then I discovered that it was the medication, so I changed medications to another one called lamotrigine. And then I was just nowhere near as hungry, and it was like, because they were always saying, only eat when you're hungry. I'm like, I'm always fucking hungry! Because, and Oprah's like, it's not just about the weight, there's something that happened to you. And I don't think anything really happened to me. I did go to a Catholic school, but actually it was fine. Like that sort of stuff. And so, and it just gets in so deep. And I kind of hate that.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite body part? Or part about your body?
I think I like my waist.
Oh, good.
I've got a small waist.
Yes, and I do have quite a small waist.
Which makes my rack and my comely hips really work.
We're both in that. We're both the same in that sense.
Yeah. So I do love that. I do love my hourglass figure. And even though my weight goes like this, it goes up and down and up and down. I always retain those proportions, which makes a frock work. Yeah, and absolutely. Which I love rocking a frock.
You love rock? Yes,
I love rocking a frock. So I think I like my waist. I mean, having large tits is quite a
weight.
It is quite weighty.
I actually weighed them using a luggage scale.
Oh yeah.
I think they were like 2 kilos each.
Yeah.
4 kilos of 4 bags of sugar strapped to your chest, dudes. Think about this. At all times was
It's
nuts.
quite a lot. And actually, when I was breastfeeding, Jesus, it was like I don't know. My boobs were like, it was like, X cup. It was just, they were just out. Do you know, and when you, anyone who's breastfed, when the milk comes in, you have these rocks. You have these giant rocks on your chest, and it's the most odd thing. And then it's all go.
It goes down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, it's like, and then my whole relationship with my bosom completely changed, because it was primarily about like being able to feed a human is a very powerful, wonderful thing. And then you suddenly become aware of your body as a piece of engineering and how fabulous the design is when it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, but be able to take your child everywhere and whip out it's like, wow. But then it really made me not want anyone other than my child to touch my breasts.
Oh, that's safe for your husband?
Yeah.
Right.
He had quite a lot of lean times.
While you're busy feeding someone else.
I don't know, I just thought these are for our son.
Right.
Which is, I don't know if anybody else has felt that feeling, but really I felt very strongly I just didn't want anyone to touch my breasts except my son. So that's something, that's something, hey.
It's not a sentence you hear very often, is it?
But that, physical intimacy is such a strange thing. It's like, and when you've got a very small, tiny person that's come out of your vagina,
yes,
that little mush on your nipple, that little hand there, that skin-to-skin contact, that becomes this kind of overwhelming, satisfying intimacy,
sort of
and
thing.
it is strangely sensual, but not in that sense, in a sexual way. But it's like, and it's honestly, I just remember very strongly thinking, I'm sorry, no. I mean, that goes, but it's just like it really changes your relationship with your body,
Yeah, and I found it really fascinating to read that something like 80% of women have children. Like, it's that high, because I have never, ever wanted... That sounds horrendous to me.
No.
All of that.
No,
the vagina, the smushing, no, thank you very much. No. Particularly the vagina. I'm like, oh my God, that just looks... I know it's like it's a day or 2 days. Well, my friend, it was 2 days of her life, but just like, oh God.
Well, it's kind of full on, but my experience of childbirth is not... It was like... I became Xena, warrior princess, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's totally, and people talk about pain, and I said it wasn't pain, it was really uncomfortable. But it was, the pain was just at the end when your fanny's ripping at the last bit. But the rest of it is like...
You're selling it.
The rest of it, no, but honestly, it's just something, once you've gone through it, it's you don't want to do it again, but you eventually, then you forget, and then you do it again. But it's like this kind of primal reaching down into that thing. It's that. It's not ow, it's and then at the end it's ow. But that bit's very short. Well, that was my experience of it. But
it's like, sounds like a vocal exercise.
It's very much. It was very much like that. But I remember that my memories are basically of not wanting anyone to touch me and just going.
Do people
really
relate
primal.
to this? People are relating to this?
Yeah. And it's, I remember my midwife sitting in the corner reading A Woman's Day. You're right, love?
She's like 2 centimetres. I remember when I found out that you potentially shat yourself.
Oh, you did. There's poos everywhere. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
And that I think I found about that when I was a teenager. I was like, what? You poo in public, being outraged at that notion.
It's just, you get it all out of your system.
Literally,
Your body basically just cleans itself out, deals with anything that doesn't need to, and then you just focus. And that focus of that process is so, and I found it incredibly empowering and enlivening.
Marvellous.
I mean, it's, after when you get in the stitches at the other end.
Oh,
All that. But it feels like it's like nothing. And then the big feeling I remember is going, he's not in there anymore.
Yes.
That's him, and he's here forever. Fuck.
Was that a surprise to you?
It was. Because I was so fixated on birth. So fixated about the birth. Then you sort of go, oh no, this is just the beginning. And then it's all this sort of, massive rocks on your chest, and then and then you're off.
Right.
Following a human,
Yes.
trying to keep up.
Trying to keep it alive.
Basically just trying to kind of trying to follow where they're going and keep up with them and keep.
Do you ever feel this? Like one thing I too like with kids, I'm like, now you go, okay, and now I'm going to try and not fuck you up.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, because so many people get fucked up by their parents. There's a poem about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
There's nothing. I mean, yeah. I'm at the phase now where I have to just.
How old are they now?
Oh, 22 and 20. So,
Oh,
but
right.
I still have to. I just have to know when to keep my mouth shut, which is quite a lot.
That must be hard.
It's really hard.
Because you don't seem to somebody who likes to be silent.
No, I have a terrible bossy gene. It's not terrible, but I have to learn when to shut up, to let people come to things in their own time. Just do that. Blah, blah, blah. I have to just back the fuck up.
Right.
And it's a really good. It's a skill I'm really learning.
Right.
That kind of, you see it, don't say it, or sleep on it, and then maybe say something. But don't say it straight away.
Yes, and I'm quite bad at that as well.
Yeah,
yes.
it's you got to learn to not.
I'm so deeply impatient. My husband just gives me shit about it. I'm so impatient. Yeah. So for me, I think favorite body part. I was trying to think about this, and I have a love-hate relationship with these as well.
Yeah.
Because these sprouted when my nickname at primary school was Big Tits. So boys, so charming, so charming. And and these are double G cups, which I figure stands for good God, check out the tits on that one. And they're enormous. And particularly in comedy, when I started in comedy, I did quite a lot about them. But then I got judged for that. I got cut out. I was on 7 Days once, and Would I Lie to You? And I got edited mercilessly. And this woman rang and she said, you talked about your tits too much, you're a bit full on.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so boys can call me Big Tits in primary school. You see tits on all the billboards advertising beer and things. But if I take ownership of them, that's too full on and icky. Well, you can fuck off. So yeah, that's why I eschewed the television industry. I mean, they haven't asked me. That's got nothing to do with it. And that's the other good thing about employing yourself, as we often do at this age, 49. It doesn't matter. We'll keep employing ourselves. It doesn't matter how old we are. And I think that's fantastic. Do you have a least favourite body part?
Well, probably my thighs, I have to say, because they've always been enormous.
Right. Do you know about 3B cream?
No.
You don't?
3B cream.
Do you want to use 3B cream? Oh my God, 3B cream is miraculous. Like my friend, when your thighs rub together and and it gets sweaty.
Oh yes,
in
I
summer,
do know that.
Oh, you put this cream on and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
no.
that ad, it was terrible. You don't want to run, suffer and cry the whole day through. And I had crying tits. Okay? Just me. My friend's thighs would rub together and they became red and raw, and her husband would call it bacon.
Oh.
Which wasn't very nice, was it? Oh,
No.
but your bacon's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
no,
right.
it's always been. I've always had, what's it called?
Childbearing hips.
No, just big cellulite. Yes, masses of cottage cheese thighs. And I've had them my whole life.
Right. Yeah, and that's just genetic, isn't
That's
it?
just genetic. My mother had them. I've got them.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm quite lucky that way.
Yeah. So
I
it's
think
just
for me, my least favourite body part, which is kind of crazy, is my vocal cords.
Oh.
Yeah, because I sing, and I'm quite good at it, and I sing in all my shows, but they're very fragile. So I have to wear a microphone at all times, regardless of the space. And it's quite funny, you get judged sometimes with reviews and stuff. They're like, oh, well, she should have been able to project without that.
Oh,
and it's like, I actually wouldn't be able to do it without that. And it's totally held me back, from socialising after gigs. I have to go home. I'm like an opera singer. I have to rest my instrument.
No, but that's just good. That's just good practice.
Yes, it is. But it's also, it is deeply frustrating, for me. And it's just, because it's my whole career is my voice. And I didn't talk once for 2 weeks because I nearly got nodules. That was a fucking nightmare, as you can imagine. But what's quite funny too is I had a thing to write down things that I was saying, and I would go to write something down and realise that most of what I have to say is completely not useful at all. I'd go to spend the time to write it, and then I'd be like, nothing will change in the world if I don't write this shit that I was about to say, so I'm just not going to say it. So it's kind of, But it's another thing I've come to peace with. I've written a play, Sense and Sensibility. It's on at the Court Theatre right now in Christchurch. And I thought that I would like to be in it, but they're not using microphones on stage, so I actually probably couldn't be in it.
Ah.
Yeah, but I wrote it, so that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be Mary Tyler Moore.
Of course, because you're gonna do it. That's that one, isn't it? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Who can turn the world on with a smile? I thought I would be some sort of television journalist or something like that.
Oh.
And I loved Mary Tyler Moore because she was sort of this very cool, very well dressed.
Yes.
And on that show, she was a news producer, and I just thought I was going to end up, working on Close Up or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good that you've come in this direction instead.
Well, it's just, I've always sung, and one thing always leads to another when when you sing, and I just haven't, the ball hasn't stopped rolling, so it's still rolling now.
Yeah.
And I did do a short journalism induction course when I was between school. I left school, was in a band, we broke up. I was on the dole. They said, Jackie, you're not going to sit around doing nothing. They sent me on this 6-week induction course for journalism, and I ended up working at 4ZA in Invercargill for 6 weeks on an internship. And then they asked me if I wanted to join. And I said no. I think I'll go to Victoria University and do a history degree, thinking. And that's what I did. I got a degree in history. I thought, well, I'll get a degree, and then maybe I'll go to journalism after that. But I just wanted to go to university, and then while I was there I just hung out with musicians and actors and performers, and I've done nothing else since.
Yeah. I mean, I started ballet when I was 4. I was going to be a ballerina. And then these fucked all of that up, that's for sure. And my ballet teacher would say things like, oh, you have such wonderful expression, if only I could give you a different body.
Oh.
So that's another thing that really gets
and
in there.
that ballet culture, that physicality hasn't changed,
No,
has it? They're still
hasn't.
absolutely restricted. But the rest of the dance world has evolved. I
Yeah.
mean, you see all sorts of
Paris
silhouettes.
Goebbels and people like that, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, modern dance, you see, I love, one of my favourite things about modern dance is seeing different bodies translate the same movement.
Right.
Seeing somebody super tall and sinewy and somebody quite nuggety, and seeing them do the same piece, and watching that,
It often does have a lot of... Absolutely.
I love that. I love because it's like hearing the same song with a different person's voice.
Yeah, right. It's like a cover version of a dance.
Or the same song depending on the tone of someone's voice and where the notes sit in their chamber and stuff. It can sound completely different. I love it. I love how a physicality completely personalises an art form. It has the capacity, like dance and certainly music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I went to university and did a classics degree in the continuing, we're very similar situation, but I did 14 shows at university.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had a lot of sex finally at university. I did, but I'm going to read some more diary. So this is we're going back in time slightly to what I was talking about before. So here we go. The 28th of November, 1990. Guess what? I'm in hospital. Yep, today in school assembly, I had an epileptic fit, and I'm really fucked off with myself for having it.
Oh.
Because it means I can't drive, I can't be in the sixth form review, and there's a chance I go to Germany. I can't go to Germany on AFS. I am so fucked off, it's unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's how I felt about that. And then over the page, this is some really charming doctors in the medical profession. The next day, some jerk-off specialist doctor showed my chest to 5 other people in the room when he was examining me. Not impressed.
Did they ask you permission?
No, 16-year-old girl. He just goes, right, we'll get this off. It was so interesting. But I was told that seizure meds can cause birth defects. I was told that in 1990. And I actually hosted a conference for the fetal anticonvulsant syndrome because a lot of women aren't told that. And they have children that are going to be reliant on ACC and care for the rest of their lives because they weren't told that. So he may have been a dick that way, but he told me that. And and there's some women that have gone through some horrendous things.
Wow.
Because they didn't know that. So it's that whole thing around informed consent with our bodies, right? The doctors just make assumptions for you, and you're going to flash your tits to somebody, etc. And this is my last one from that. This is the 3rd of December. Well, I went to the doctors this morning, and I won't be able to drive for a whole fucking year. I was so fucked off. I started crying because life is just so unfair. Excuse me. First of all, I'm fat and not amazingly attractive, and now this.
That's awful.
Yeah, so that was how I was feeling about myself. I'm much better now. It's amazing. Like Stanislavski, I don't know if you know, he was an acting that talks about emotional memory, going back to a place and how you felt and imbuing that emotion, and it's fucking on to something.
Yeah.
Because when I first read that, I hadn't read my diaries for ages, and I went back and read that, and I was just streaming tears because I remembered that feeling. Yeah, that's right. Now I'm going to change the mood entirely because we're actually, we don't have that much long left because we could just talk forever. One thing I was also late to was masturbation. I really was, but here's me talking about it on the 8th of March, 1991, so 7th form. Stairway to Heaven has just come on the radio. I absolutely love the beginning part. I'll just lie here and listen. It does something to me inside. Kind of a musical orgasm, I reckon. So that's that. And then later on, where is this? School was quite funny today. Chem was normal. Sax, I used to play the saxophone, was quite cool. Classics was rude. For bio, we went to Willowbank, which is like a zoo, to watch the monkeys. And it was quite amusing, as one of them was wanking. And the lemur decided to lick it. Yummy. Tell us about your journey with masturbation, Jackie Clarke.
I'm quite a lazy masturbator. I'm more likely to masturbate if I just want to get to sleep.
Right, yes.
I think it's a very efficient way to get yourself to sleep.
Right.
If you just want to
flick one off?
Yeah, that's right. And then you can just go. Well, I do. It works for me anyway.
Right, okay. Yeah, I was really late again. I think it's the Catholic school thing, you know, like we played I Have Never once. I was like 18. I was like, I have never masturbated, and they all practically fell off. I was like, what? I was like, it's disgusting. I think I said, it's disgusting. What an idiot. Yeah, I know. So I was really prudish. So I was quite late to the game, but then I've made up for lost time.
Yeah, I think I did a sort of, normal amount of exploratory missions.
It's funny because when I got together with my husband, I stopped doing, even though of late we haven't, you get to a point and you're like, oh yeah, we'll have sex at some point. And it's like we keep checking in, are you all right? We haven't had sex. Well, no, I don't care. I was like, okay, good. But I think it's just having that, that big snuggle monster that is quite nice. And I haven't, been frottaging as much as I had previously in my single days, which was I was single for a long time.
Yeah.
I was single for a long time. So yeah, I actually bought this blow-up doll. I used to do a tango on stage. It was called the Yes, Yes, No Tango, all about how you're not supposed to say yes and have sex with someone immediately. And I was very bad at that. And also, fuck that, just do what you want. Yes. Anyway, I bought a blow-up doll to do this tango, and it came with an attachment. a detachable attachment, a detachable penis. Yeah, and it was a big vibrating vibrator. Yeah, schlong.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So I was like, oh, okay, let's try one of these. It was like an early VCR because it has a cord attached. Oh, she didn't know that we were going to talk about this when I asked her to do this 3 days ago.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I do remember that time, when I was first at Victoria University and I was in an all-woman semi-vegetarian flat, and it was all quite political for the first time. My consciousness around
Mine
feminism.
was so late for that too, political consciousness, so much later.
Well, I mean, I can remember having political consciousness, but not where it comes to your body and stuff. But that being in Wellington it would have been the mid to late 80s, my body, myself, and and just being suddenly aware of how political the clitoris was.
Yeah.
Female pleasure, all those concepts. They hadn't been at the forefront of my mind at the beginning of my sexual exploration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it had not been anything, I hadn't been thinking about that. And then there were conversations about the G-spot, and I was like, Jesus, this is another thing I've got to kind of get my head around.
You're trying to get your head around?
That's
not how you do it.
That's right. But, just being aware that you have to be responsible and communicate how to receive pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just remember that all coming together in those days.
Coming together is good too.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
And also the whole thing about a vaginal orgasm as opposed to a clitoral orgasm was such a big deal. And you only think, oh my God, who cares? I mean,
just however it comes,
however it arrives is fine with me. I mean, and I remember Madonna giving an interview saying about sex. How unusual. Saying that if somebody didn't give her an orgasm on their first sexual encounter, she probably wouldn't go back there. And I remember thinking, I don't think that's very fair.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've never been one for faking them. I'm not going to, give credit to bad behaviour.
Yeah,
no, we're going to work on this.
That's right.
Yeah, and my first orgasm was with a nice man who, and he really worked at it, and I was like, because I hadn't been doing, so I didn't even know, right, because I hadn't been doing it to myself. I was like, I don't know, give it a go. we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yes, but here's another don't. So now, I did go to Germany on AFS, and towards the end of my time there, I met a nice man. And I'm just going to read a couple of things from him. It was just so funny. When is this? Friday, the 1st of February, 1991. We had another heavy discussion where he told me about the four girls who wanted to have sex with him. That makes him sound like an egomaniac. But I never quite got the gist of that conversation. He also told me he thought he could have loved me. I can't get used to this word love. I've never had it before, and I therefore don't know what it is, and people seem to use it so much here. Oh well, I'll see. I'm going to school tomorrow. So that was me going to school and exchange. Honestly, I sound
What
like
did he mean he could have loved you?
Yeah,
That's like such a wanky line.
I know, and it's so funny reading through this. He was a bit of a dick, let's be honest. He was a total dick. When Philip left, we went outside and had our usual long goodbye session, except this one had an interesting conversation. He said he didn't want to have this bitter aftertaste of going too fast, and I said, believe me, you're not going too fast. And anyway, the upshot was the P1s came into being. Now, the P1s is pashing. I didn't like to use the word pashing, apparently, so I called them the P1s came into being, which is so ridiculous. I just wanted to rush off home after him and throw myself at him. I think he might be feeling the same on a lesser scale. Ich weiß nicht. We just don't know what to do when I go home. Cutting a romance off in midstream isn't healthy. You have to let it run its course. You never know how to react in New Zealand, etc. I mean, staying celibate is hardly feasible. Yes, it was. I probably won't be able to see him again for another 2 years. Oh, what a Mills and Boone mess, huh?
Oh, God. Honestly, I had a summer fling that was very hot and heavy. And then this dick turned up in Wellington in my normal life. I remember the door knocking. I was home in Gisborne for a summer and I met this guy and it was like way full on. Back in Wellington, there he is on my doorstep and I'm thinking, you fucking dick. Why are you here?
Because he liked you.
And he did say, I hope it's a nice surprise. And I was thinking, no. It's just one of those awkward things where it's entirely situational.
Yeah, but he didn't know that.
But, this hot and heavy permission you give each other when it's not going to last. And then somebody did. It's like, I just remember thinking.
Oh, my diary's full of, why did I have to meet him now? Why? I have to go back to New Zealand.
No, but that's
just like, ugh.
No, but that was the pleasure in that situation. The yearning and the,
Especially from going from in capital letters not that long before, I think I'm destined to never have a boyfriend.
Yeah,
and I finally get one, he's on the other fucking side.
Yeah, all that drama and fabulous yearning.
And we stayed in touch and we met up again about 7 years later and had sex and it was terrible.
Yeah, hello.
And it was like on the first night that he stayed in my flat, and then he stayed in my bed for another 5 days and we never talked about it. And never did it again. It's really great, really comfortable. So we're nearing the end, and so now we have to get to the big kahuna, which is, here we go, the big kahuna. I'm going to find it.
Oh my God.
Number 13. Oh God, where is it?
Are all these people signing an NDA at the end of this, by the way?
I know, you had no idea what you were signing up for. Where the hell is it? What we're talking about, what was your first sexual experience? This was with your older man?
Yeah, I actually, I lost my virginity at my lunch break at school and went back to school. And I remember thinking, wonder if everybody will be able to know. You think, will everybody be able to see the difference in me?
They'll be able to tell just
because I'm now deflowered. Yeah, it was
wow.
quite...
That's hilarious. I was a lot older than that. I was at university, and it was a nice law student. I wrote a poem about it once, actually, too, just going, it should have been with an Italian prince on an island in the Mediterranean, or it should have been at lunchtime at school. But it was like, no, it was just with...
Redacted.
Flat. After we've been going out for about 3 months. It just says, dun dun dun, the historic day has come to pass. I had sex! It really wasn't all that great. Kate Morrissey tells me that it gets better with time. I hope she's right. So that was my first sexual
experience. It definitely does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And then I eventually ended up with a boyfriend who was really focused on it being really enjoyable for me. Because the thing is, too, I had sex with 11 men before I had sex with someone twice.
Oh, wow.
And I think that was me at university going, I'm a bit skinnier now. Boys want to have sex with me. And there's nothing wrong with it. I have no problem with casual sex. But then just, but then maybe tipping a little bit the other way because I'd been so wanting it for so long. And it's, and then you think, and it was that weight thing, and suddenly I'm like, people are desirable. And then, of course, I started getting judged by other people for being a slut. Because that's what happens if you do it too much the other way. And just that balance. And, in the early 2000s, the late 90s was this just terrible time for all that slut shaming, like Pamela Anderson. Her sex tape gets stolen from her and leaked, and everybody makes jokes about her being a slut. Paris Hilton's boyfriend leaks her sex tape. She's the slut. And it was just this endemic way of looking at younger women who are exploring their sexuality, or they turned Britney Spears into a sex object when she's 14. Anyway, so it's all that psychological stuff and the things that we've been taught to put so much shame in our bodies, which we need to dispel, and loudly, like this, in front of other people. So there we go. I think that's a good segue to close with. Was there anything you'd like to say? We've reached the climax.
I'm just pleased I'm not young anymore.
Yeah.
I've been with the same man for 30 years, and it's a very happy, pleasurable, long-time relationship where you can ride those times when you don't want to be touched, and then when you do want to be touched.
You can ride those times.
Yes. And you kind of, and the whole idea of intimacy, a very deep level of intimacy with somebody that, and you just have these waves in a relationship where you come together, and then it's this natural ebb and flow, which I really enjoy. And when I think about having to be out there now, in this Tinder generation, where on the one hand it's like a very feminist ideal in that you can have your needs met whenever you want to. But on the other hand, it just sounds so exhausting and so potentially messy.
And potentially dangerous.
Dangerous. But I think, I'm just happy where I'm at now.
And
really
I feel
happy.
like that as well, to have somebody that I love and love being around, who is so, like, he tells me every day I'm not fat, and and it's because it's still in here so deep that I wish it wasn't, but he's...
Honey, they don't care if you're fat.
They really don't.
They really don't.
Especially with this. He's like, he's very much a tit man, which has worked out, hasn't it? Look at that. So now I'm going to plug some shows instead of vagina, I was going to say. No, that's not right. Anyway, so yes, if you felt like this was interesting. Also, I am doing, actually tomorrow, I think, is the 10th anniversary of my solo Jane Austen musical, Promise and Promiscuity.
Wonderful.
And I'm doing a bit of a 10th anniversary tour this year, and I'm doing the Meteor in May, I should know the date, but I don't. But it's on their website in May. So again, not quite like this show, but a Jane Austen solo musical. So anyway, can I have a massive round of applause for Jackie Clarke over here, who's in Rock Follies tonight.
Thank you.
A round of applause for our technician, Tom,
Thank you,
and
Tom.
Tony, the stage manager, and everybody here. I've been Penny Ashton. We'll see you another time. Goodbye.